C-130 rolling down the strip.
C-130 rolling down the strip.
SEAL Team Froggy gonna take a little trip.
SEAL Team Froggy gonna take a little trip.
Mission top secret, destination unknown.
Mission top secret, destination unknown.
I don't know if I'm coming home.
I don't know if I'm coming home.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
We jump right out and count to 4.
Jump right out and count to 4.
1, 1000, 2, 1003, 1004.
1, 1000, 2, 1003, 1004.
If my main don't open wide.
If my main don't open wide.
I got a reserve by my side.
I got a reserve by my side.
If that one should fail me too.
And if that one should fail me too.
Get out of my way, 'cause I'm coming through.
Get out of my way, 'cause I'm coming through.
Okay, so Kamal has joined us, and we were talking about transitioning from the military and into civilian life. You know, we've all had to do it from one aspect or another. You know, you did 25 years. You know, however long. How long were you in for?
It's 3.5.
So after you got out, what then? You're like city kid. Tell me more.
Went off to college. Kind of drifted around a bit after college. You know, but I kind of like the military. I put that little. I can do anything in my head, so I had a backpack, just wander around the planet, climbed in the Himalayas, did that kind of stuff, and came back, and then moved to Silicon Valley when startups were first starting. This is the late 90s. And just threw myself in, knocked on doors until I got one opportunity, and then just ran with it. And yeah, I tell people all the time in the military, like if you're not sure what you want to do, go join startups. You'll do great. And the payouts are pretty big compared to any other thing. And also the stuff you learn, you can go anywhere and be valuable.
Is that what you're doing today? Is startups?
Well, I've done startups, and I've actually been built some, and you know that's where I got to like put my leadership training. I was just a squad leader, and
like,
I got to.
I'm sorry. So what do you mean by startup?
Startup could be anything from Uber. What was once a startup when it was like less than 10 employees.
Any new company.
Any tech company.
Yeah, like Square.
Tech company.
Square came out, you know,
So
and that was developed in San Francisco.
Right?
Things like that.
Which are like really the ability to create those is so low hanging these days. And so these days what I do is I run a fund where I invest in startups because I like helping entrepreneurs. So I invest in them with my time and my money. Well, actually with other people's money. But most importantly, like what I was put on this earth for, I write books. I write books that literally I get emails that save lives. Like this particular one is an expanded version of what I put out 7 years ago. And you'd be amazed how many celebrities have emailed me and told me this saved their life. And just regular people and military and non-military.
Love yourself like your life depends on it.
Because it's like Brandon and I believe in the same thing. Like he wrote The Power of Thought. You know,
that's right.
It's life is a mental game.
Right.
And I wrote this after I felt really hard. At one point, this company I was building, I put all my money. I'd made good money, and I lost everything. I was living off my ego, I got really sick. I was, I'd lost everything. I had to start from below scratch, and I was like at bottom. And I had to work on I decided to work on my inside. And literally, I made a commitment. I worked on my inside. Within a month, I changed my life. So what I wrote this book was to share what I did and step by step, so people can actually, because it's a human thing. We're all running around with the same monkey in our heads. You know, it's a matter of taming and focusing the monkey. And so now, my passion is writing these books. And, you know, I studied Hemingway obsessively for a decade and a half, you know, making myself a writer. So I write these books, I put them out to the world, I go out and I do talks when I get asked sometimes, and I invest and help entrepreneurs.
So you motivation?
I don't like motivation because, you know, you can motivate someone and walk away a month later, are they any different? You know, I care about real practical...
So you're a monkey trainer. That's what it is, then. Let's forget that.
Trainer.
Let's just go to the monkey, right? The monkey in your head.
This monkey drives everything.
That's deep.
Now you're actually helping people. You're not giving them You're not trying to motivate.
No, I hate
people.
that shit. Excuse my language.
But maybe like inspire is another word too, like tame their monkey.
Yeah, but I actually want someone to, like, every time I've given a talk, and I get asked a lot, I will actually go out the day before or the day off and meet everyone in the audience. I won't go over with a prepared talk, and I want to know who these people are. I want to understand what they're really here seeking. And then that day, I will build that talk in my head, and I will go speak it from the heart of what I've learned in my life. And I always speak about the military, startups. Between those two, I have a lot of very varied experience that I think I can used to help people. And ultimately, we help people by sharing our stories.
Yep.
But because we're all human, we've all been to the same shit in some
Something,
ways,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So if you share a story, people realize, look, I'm not alone. And then if you share, the fact that you started at you could be at the top of the mountain, but it doesn't help anyone saying, hey, look at me, I'm on top, look how awesome I am. What helps is you talk about when you're at bottom and the climb you did and the route you
How
took.
you got there.
And the route, how you got there. That's what helps them. So that's what my books are about. That's what Brandon and I really believe in this. That's why we share a lot of our stuff.
Yeah, you guys, you break it down like a guide, almost like making the route for
Yes.
someone to
is
say,
awesome.
hey, I'll lead the climb.
Look,
You just keep following these chalk prints,
Yeah.
and I'll get you up there.
and make your own.
Yeah.
But at least now you know it's
Sure.
possible.
Right.
Right.
And if you have to use your handhold to maybe reach over to
Yeah.
this handhold, at
Yeah.
least you help them here to grab up to that next footing.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? That's a true American. That's great people, because most people that make it to the top, they don't want to let people know how they made it.
That's sad, man. I'm
It is
so
sad.
Even in rock climbing, they don't want to leave trails of
No.
the dust on the rocks so someone else can't
But
follow
as
the
a
lead.
true American, when you
Thank you.
make it to the
Thank
top
you.
and you want to teach people how to do
Thank
it,
you.
that is awesome.
It's a responsibility.
It
you
is.
know, I came from nothing. We were homeless when I was a child.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so single mom, homeless, and so I understand what it's like to be there, and that also drives you. You never want to go back there. You kind of
Exactly.
have a good drive, right?
Yeah, it's like it was harder there than you yelling at me, drill sergeant.
Yeah, oh, no.
You have no idea. You're now my daddy.
I had someone tell me, I read in New York, oh, you blah, 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 born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I looked at her, I started laughing. I'm like, you have no fucking idea.
You're like silver
Yeah,
spoon. Like my spoon was rusty.
I worked,
got tetanus.
I had four jobs. I had 4 jobs in college.
Especially to live here in New York City, it's
Yeah.
like there's kind of like this false world of has and has nots here.
It's a strange world. New York is a great city, but it's also a bizarro land. It literally is bizarro world.
Dude.
I have a love-hate relationship with
It's
it.
I
concrete
love
jungle.
visiting New York. I could never live here, but it's one of my favorite cities to visit because the people watching is awesome. There's all walks of life.
I think some of the best looking women are
That is
walking around
true.
the streets.
Oh, yeah,
If
you're
you
gonna find
if
them
you
here.
like women, this is as a guy, this is your
the
time.
guy.
There's beautiful women, but I won't say.
They're from everywhere.
There's a whole
come here.
cultural pot of
Yeah.
everybody here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
But there's
it's
a
very
lot,
nice.
but he and I've talked about this, and I've actually got flamed when I told New Yorkers this, but there's a lot of grown boys in New York. There's not a lot of men.
oh, I see.
There's not a lot of men left anywhere in the world.
That's sad.
They don't breed raising men anymore.
a lot of grown
There's
boys.
to be a man, it takes having values, having honor, having loyalty, living your values, and it's like you see here, it's
Principles.
Yeah,
Integrity.
principles. Yeah, integrity. Those are not just words. That's a way to live.
I still do business with handshakes.
Yeah, me
You know,
too.
At my company, it's like, hey, boom.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, we're taught anytime you meet somebody, you look them in the eye and shake their hand.
Yeah.
It's
Firm
very hard
handshake.
to find anybody to do that anymore.
Very much so.
It's like in New York, it throws people off.
I say hi to
yeah.
somebody walking down the street.
Yeah,
and
they look at
may
you like,
take
whoa,
me
you gonna kill me? I'm like, no, dude.
for who
I'm
knows
shaking your hand.
what. Hi.
So I want to hear about Charlie's transition.
So you go and replace Chris, Kyle, and Ramadi, and now you're out, right?
So that was a few years later. That was 8 years later. But yeah.
So
So
8
I finished
years
up.
later,
I
you're
finished
out.
up at Team One. I retired when I was 44 years old, and I was about to put on. I was going to do 30 years, but I got a better job offer to go manage a exotic hunting ranch out in Texas, and it paid more than Master Chief. I was about to put on Master Chief, but
Master Chief.
this job paid more, and I always wanted to retire in Texas anyway. So perfect timing. But so when I got out, I got to go to this place and run this 10,000 acre exotic hunting ranch. So it was a perfect transition job. I got to drive around on tractors, mow all day, shoot rats out the window with my pistol, drink beer. Right, it was a great transition job.
And you're getting paid, and you can
I
kind
got
of relax
paid well.
a little bit.
Yep,
Not
relax,
PT
paid
and
well.
every day forced.
Yep, and I guided hunts every night and taught people how to shoot, and that's kind of how I rolled into starting my company, Charlie Mike Precision.
Charlie,
Let's do it.
Mike Precision.
Charlie Mike Precision. So I have my own company now. I teach long range shooting and pistol carving courses, and we build custom guns.
What is a long shot to you? You're saying I teach long shots. Well,
Yep.
okay,
Long
so,
range.
so I'm from Utah.
Yep.
1,000 yards is pretty good. There's a club out there. They got stickers on their car. Like I'm a part of the long range.
I have
Utah.
one of mine. I teach courses out there. But no, long range to me, well, there's long range and there's extreme long range. So long range to me, so our 2-day course, we get you shooting 1,000 yards, a 6-inch group in 2 days, 1,000 yards. But extreme long range, like 3 years ago, I hit 5,020 yards. And a guy just broke that at 7,000 yards a couple weeks ago or a month ago.
7,000 yards, and I think that's let's see. So there's 5,000.
There's 1,760 yards in a mile.
Wow.
It's almost 4 miles.
I was in special ed. Hold on, I'm adding it up here.
I wasn't a math major.
Be afraid to use a calculator.
Yeah, so
But,
special forces, special ops, special ed.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear about it.
Like a politician trying to find Syria on a map.
Yeah, seriously, what it's
Or
called
Guam's
Syria?
going to tip over between me Marines on it.
Just think the
Fall off the
geometry
earth.
of that, just like how do you...
It's a lot
It's like
of
putting a
calculations.
rocket on the, launching a rocket.
And I'm not saying you can do it consistently, but the ability,
It is.
no matter how many shots it takes you, when you can hit that far is amazing. Like the guy that just hit, I think it was Paul Phillips that hit the 7,000, but
What's the penetration of that round at that range? What are you shooting?
it'll still kill you. I shoot a 408
A
Tejas.
408,
But
is
it's
that a
probably
Chi-Tac?
it's
No, Tejas
subsonic at
custom
that
made.
point, right?
Chaos.
Yep, and the guy that makes my bullets, when they go subsonic, they stay stable. We were hitting 7,500 like with misses last time. But so in January, before the SHOT Show, the week before, I'm going to attempt 7,500 yards.
That's what he said there. So
Yeah,
for
tell
the
me.
average reader, right? So normally the bullet transitions from supersonic, we're basically traveling faster than the speed of sound, to subsonic. It destabilizes and then starts to tumble.
Okay.
Yep.
What Charlie just said was that the guys that make his bullets, and kind of the one improvement that has been made on bullets since bullets were invented, which there hasn't been much technological improvements, is to make a bullet that transitions stably from supersonic to subsonic. So it still travels.
It's basically like
stably.
making an airplane wing.
Yeah, and it doesn't start tumbling, right? So
Right.
it still has that kind of impact,
Trying
kill
to
power.
capture the Magnus effect
Yeah.
of
So
the
it-
flight over
yeah.
the round so that it can stay stable through the
And that was
air.
kind of like one of the biggest advancements in bullets, and kind of pushed the long range shooting a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah,
further.
I mean, like, even at 5,000 yards. So when that bullet hits the target, it's only doing like 800 feet per second. But it's like
It's a huge
it's a
round.
420 grain bullet, so it'll still knock your head.
Because
off
it's the
and knock
jewel
all
energy, actually, even with the kinetic energy that's
Yeah,
created
it's still
by the
gonna kill
mass
you.
that cuts
But
through
being
that
able to do
area,
that
yeah.
consistently, because when you're shooting that far, your round's going up like 2,200 feet in the air, so you're hitting like the jet streams and all that. So you're calling
No kidding. So
more
you're
accuracy.
aiming at
You
more
have
accuracy.
you have to see that. You have to see that.
You're
first
lobbing
impact.
it in. You're like
I mean,
almost-
imagine this. It's like sending a rocket to the moon.
Yeah.
If the rocket starts slowing down and starts tumbling,
Right.
it's
No.
not a good thing, right?
No.
So, hey, the rocket kind of like
Yep.
slows down and stabilizes, then it's...
and it has to have
that's
enough
what it
boosters to keep it going straight so
Yeah.
that it doesn't tumble.
And also just your sights, lining your sights up. Like there's new stuff out now. Like I was lucky at the first SHOT Show I went to. They just invented this little periscope thing from TACOM HQ that gives you it's like a periscope goes on front of your scope and it gives you another 500 minutes of angle elevation. So when you're shooting at that distance, your scope is basically tilted like this and your muzzle is in your scope. So now they made one that goes off to the side where you don't pick that up.
And the SHOT Show, for those that aren't familiar,
Right.
the SHOT Show is the largest tactical law enforcement,
Gun show
military,
in the world.
hunting
Vegas.
show, outdoor show in
It's
the
where
world.
all the new products come
It
out.
makes Comic-Con look like a Gary Vee on a Jersey
It would
yard
be
sale
like the-
buying Hot Wheel cars.
Right.
It's SHOT Show is massive, and what I want to get behind. Like, what was your hardest challenge in transition? I mean, 25 years, man. I did 13.
Right.
man.
But no, transitioning, yes. My hardest part, I think a lot of team guys that get out or military guys that get out, their biggest thing is they'll roll out, retire, and the next day they're sitting in a cubicle doing a full-time job. I think you got to take that time and find something you enjoy to like decompress and figure out and transition into civilian life. Figure out things, because civilians do not react or perform like military people because they don't have to. They're not held accountable.
But what was
So-
one of your
That's good advice.
biggest
My biggest thing was working on that ranch and being able just to chill out and mow grass and guide hunts, and like I did that for a year, and like I became at peace with myself, figured out how the world was working, and then started my company.
Yeah, that's real therapy.
Yeah, it was therapy.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So the transition, right? That's the hardest question to try to even think of, right? I'm not trying to throw you on the spot, but you said it took you a year, okay, of like finding yourself, but how? I mean, were you just like on a hunt and you're like, oh, hey, this is how the world clicks? Or it's like, I just got out of the Navy. I was going to be a master chief. I've had everything drawn out on a whiteboard in my last life 2 years in advance. I've had everybody telling me what I'm supposed to do. I've got commanders above me. All these guys are telling me my life is good. I've got purpose because that whiteboard
Yep.
2 years in advance says I have purpose.
Yep. Exactly.
So that whiteboard's gone.
And I think getting that job where you're not under those stresses and you can relax and do what you love doing for a year or two, just to relax, do whether you want to go climb the Himalayas or whatever you want to do.
Right.
Take that time, go do that, and then when you're done, and then figure out how to work with civilians and kind of integrate back into the regular world.
Right, because when I got out of the Air Force, I was like, I'm just going to go live in a redwood tree. I was like, I'm just going to go live in a tree somewhere.
You look like a red.
And I still want my AK, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's not be, the redwoods there. That's where I want to live, and I want to live in that peaceful canopy life of no violence, hopefully.
Exactly.
Right, but hey,
violence is part of life. But
but my democracy, I guess, is my AK.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. It's like,
That's your symbolism.
yeah, come and take it, I guess. I don't want to be that guy, but if it came down to it, let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I don't foresee that ever really happening because of that exact
so.
comment I just made.
History
And
repeats
all
itself
other Americans
always.
probably could 90% agree with it's ours.
I mean, the right to bear arms is so fundamentally baked into just the concept of America. It just is.
It's
Well,
just
America was the original Brexit.
Yeah, it really is.
It really,
yeah.
so-
America is the greatest country ever, but unfortunately, people are always trying to change it. They try to, what kills me is people leave their country or leave whatever. They come to America or change states, and they try to bring the values that they left into America. You're like, no, that's not what America's about. America is about a way of living.
It's about
that was
opportunity, it's
designed.
about
it's about opportunity,
individuality,
freedom,
tolerance.
individuality.
Yeah.
There should be some tolerance
Yeah.
with
But
our
when you
culture.
come from your country that failed and come here, why are you trying to bring what failed into America?
Maybe bring your
America was
food.
built off of success and freedom. And
Bring
all
the food, okay?
Bring the food.
Bring the happiness, the smiles.
I mean, literally, no other country in the world offers this kind of opportunity. Like you come from a different country. You're a foreigner.
That's true.
Like you literally become the richest person in this country.
Yeah, but it seems
It's
like
the sweat of your brow.
Yeah, but
can.
it seems like over
Yeah.
the last few years, people try to bring in the stuff that doesn't work and try to implement it in America.
I think there'll be a backlash.
Like, no, this is America.
There's more silent, smart, thoughtful people than
There is. You're right, and that's what makes it.
It's the loud ones. The crazy ones are the
Yep.
loud ones.
Yep.
The quiet ones are the thoughtful ones who are busy living life and doing stuff.
Yeah, and when
you
shit
know?
their
hits the
nose-
fan and
nose
starts
on
to
the
go
grind.
crazy, the quiet ones come out and make things happen.
I like to say that you can take all your eggs and put them in all these baskets and try to watch all these baskets, and you might get one jacked over here, or you can take all your eggs and put them in one basket and just provide overwatch
Yep.
of that basket. Okay? I just want you to know that. And then you're like, those are my eggs.
Those are
All of them are right here. Yeah, I'm focused on all of them.
That's Warren Buffett's thing in investing too. By the
Is
way.
that right?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, hi,
Literally,
Warren.
it's made him very rich.
Yeah, we can sit down and have a lunch. You can auction for that, Warren, if you want to sit down with us. We'll do an auction for Warren Buffett to come and eat lunch with us.
Hey, that's a great concept. I like it.
I think it goes for like $3 million to have
So
lunch.
by the
with
way, your thing about the transition, that's the best advice I've heard. It's
Really?
real therapy, man.
Well, I
Like
appreciate
just
it.
go out and do something you enjoy and be.
You have to.
Before
You got
going
you got to
into-
take
yeah.
that pause and
Yeah.
And
That's
you
literally
gotta
the
get
best
back
advice
on.
I've heard.
I think the biggest problem, guys, that have transitioning from
Well, a
the
lot of
special
it's
ops.
a lot of it's financial. Guys get out, or most people get divorced or getting destroyed financially, and they just got to do what it takes to survive. So they end up doing this.
Well,
crazy
plus you
stuff.
go from the top.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you go
like
to
being a
being a-
professional athlete.
You are a professional
It's
athlete.
like going to
you're
being
out.
important
You're just
to
missing
like
the-
nobody gives a
missing
shit.
the Nike-
Nobody
the
cares. Like,
contract.
oh yeah, I'll buy this guy a beer at
Yeah.
the bar. But you go from like hero to zero, and you guys really struggle with that. And I've seen it.
Well, that and the financial part. The financial part kills most
Well,
people, I think, because
That too, but
they
Chris,
get out with no plan. Or
Chris
anything.
Kyle and I talked about it when we both we had books come out at the same time, and it was this. Him and I were just reflecting on the fact that, the fact that we put books out together, and then everybody is like, why you guys? Like, because I didn't do 25, I did 13. Chris,
why
I think,
not?
did 10. I was just burnt out, but we got
Well,
out.
no, you had a different plan.
Yeah, we put
I mean, the military teaches you a lot. Even if you do 4 years or whatever, I mean, it teaches you basic.
Oh, you changed for
It
life.
teaches you
You're
a lot of stuff.
for life.
So
Yeah.
and if you got a better plan, and Brandon's always been a businessman, he's always been very smart with that stuff. So why wouldn't you get out 13?
Yeah.
Instead of spend 25 and get like $2,000 a month.
Well, and I did have a short stint in my career, and I attribute the U-turn to allowing me to come back at a younger age and try that life differently. Otherwise, I would have maybe done 20
Yeah.
and said, what do I do now that I don't have this check's coming in at half the pay?
Yeah.
Right,
It
for
all
retirement.
boils down to: are you enjoying your life?
That's right.
Are you enjoying every day of your life? Because
That's
life
right.
is short. You don't realize how short it is.
I bet you sure
So
do.
if
I bet
you're-
you
if
do.
you're not
We
enjoying,
have to talk about near-death experiences on
yeah,
this show
so,
too.
yeah,
The thing is, that Chris and I both talked about it. It was therapeutic to write it down,
Right.
and then have something that both of us had kids to know that the kids could read it later.
That's right.
And that was a main motivation for us. It was therapeutic and also like tied to kind of like, let's put some stuff on paper. I still have the original first edition copy that Chris wrote, American Sniper. He wrote this really nice note to my son Hunter, just about my service, and I have like saved in my cabinet for my son when he gets older. But the thing is, I think most people that transition, they have a tough time, especially in the special ops community, because they're at the top and now they're out, and
Right.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you have a
Right.
steel trident, because you don't.
no one cares.
You're in
No
street
pe-
clothes,
right,
nobody
most,
cares.
Most people don't even know what it means.
So it's really tough, and I think it also has to do with perspective. I mean, I know we're going to talk about haters on the show as well, but there's a lot of people. Like, I remember going to Chris Kyle's funeral in Dallas, and guys that now have big podcasts and books coming up to me giving me shit about writing a book, but they don't have that perspective, right? They're on active duty.
Right.
But once they're out, they're like, okay, I get it now. But so it's
Write down your stories. You may have something that's intriguing and, but not always going to get picked up as an
sharing
author.
is-
But it's therapeutic.
Right.
It's the best thing, especially like, I mean, look, your book, Chris Kyle books, it actually went beyond the speaking to the choir audience. It like showed a lot of people who've never served what it really is about. And
you don't have to serve to be a patriot. I mean, there's so many great
No,
patriots in this
no.
country that help out veterans. I mean, it's amazing.
yeah,
100%.
So,
One way or
I mean,
another,
sharing
you're
your
helping
story
the
only
service.
helps out. That's one thing I learned. Share your story. Share the truth of your story. Not like put your journal out for the world to cry over. Like share what you've learned, the lessons, what you've done, and the lessons, and let them help others. And
Yeah,
it's amazing.
don't tell people your opinion on what you think.
Yeah.
Tell them how you went from being unsuccessful to successful.
Or like your
That's huge.
transition thing. That's literally the best thing I've heard on transition. Really.
Finding yourself for a year on a job that you were having fun with.
Yep.
And
You got to transition. Like, no matter what you're doing, whether you're getting out of the military or you're transitioning from a divorce or a life-changing event, you gotta take that time and transition.
That's right. Yeah, because I mean, the military, like you said, a divorce, it's all
It's all a
you have to
transition.
regroup.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
yourself.
can't just jump from one to the other. You'll never catch up.